Good afternoon, fellow classmates and teacher. Uh, I will be delivering speech for practice, and hopefully, I can get my point across. And this speech for speech four, the topic was conspiracy theory. Now, I do agree with this conspiracy, and that is particularly why I chose this topic, as I found it interesting, and I already had a little bit of a background knowledge on this conspiracy, so I wanted to get more into it. So pretty much my conspiracy is how Big Pharma operates for sinister purposes against public good, how they cause or worsen diseases, how remedies are suppressed. I will be hitting on the points of HIV or AIDS, on cancer and COVID-19, and how cures have been discovered but hidden from the public for their own economic benefit. So those are the points that I will be discussing on this conspiracy. Now, the first one I want to get into is AIDS. So, to our knowledge, from what my research, the earliest known case of AIDS was discovered in 1959. It was actually an African man from the Congo. He was blood tested and he tested positive for AIDS. So that was in 1959. So almost 20 years later, in June of 1981, AIDS became a huge problem in America. Now, there's so many conspiracies with AIDS in particular, that I won't get into it, but there are a couple that go hand into hand with how the pharmaceutical companies probably wanted AIDS, as it gave treatment, and treatment gets money. Treatment is money. So now let's take into account racism in America was a huge problem during this time, during this period, as the civil rights movements were big and civil rights activists were big. Now, there is a conspiracy which says that AIDS was created, which was man-made, which I do believe. AIDS was man-made, in my opinion, and targeted to kill African Americans. So it was targeted for a specific group of people. That's a conspiracy. And what I do know, and I do think is true, is that it was created man-made. Now, obviously, no cure has been found for AIDS, but there is treatment. Like I said, treatment is money. With treatment, you can make so much money, and that's why no cure has been found yet. Now, another point I want to get into is cancer. Cancer, same thing. Now, from researching cancer, roughly 1/4 of Americans, of the American population, believe there is a cure for cancer. So, what is going on here? 1/4 of Americans, that's quite a lot of Americans if you ask me. Now, they believe that there has to be something out there. And I believe that too. With the technology that we have, there has to be something out there. And with the age being roughly 40, 50 years old, and research, and they can't find nothing, something's off. Now, obviously, there are roughly 200 different types of cancers. With those 200, I think there has to be at least one cure. They have to find something, some sort of solution, especially with the technology we have, and it's only evolving and becoming better and better every time. So there has to be something there. Something. Now, before I continue, I do want to get this point across that I'm not here to bash doctors or healthcare workers. Now, in my opinion, I don't think the problem are the doctors or the healthcare workers, as they have no control. They only work with what they got. They have no idea. They don't even have an idea of what's going on, in my opinion. The people in control, the higher ups, the elites, they're the ones who run the world. They run everything, which is another whole different conspiracy, which I won't get into. But pretty much research teams hide information from the public for their own benefit, which is true if you ask me. Now, the other disease I wanted to get into is COVID-19. Now, COVID-19 at first was thought to be came from wet markets with bats and all these animals in the wet market. Then it was said that the Wuhan lab, which they're not even trying to hide it no more. They pretty much say it was created, but they try to say that the test experiments got out, the disease got out of control, which I'm not buying at all. I think what happened was this disease was put out to the world to control the society and for economic benefit, as all this makes money. It don't even I don't even want to get into the COVID-19 vaccines, as they make money out of those. And people think it's fake. They think it's a conspiracy. People think vaccines are trackers. I don't know. I don't even know what to believe on that. And with COVID-19, we don't even know if there's a cure. We don't know. We don't know, since it's so fresh and recent, we don't know if COVID-19 is going to come back stronger, if it's going to become like the flu. I couldn't tell you, honestly. It's just a waiting game. But I think COVID-19 shouldn't be a problem in the future. With the technology we have, it shouldn't. But knowing what happens in society with these higher ups running the world and these pharmaceutical companies benefiting from this, maybe it will become even bigger, COVID-19. So we'll just have to wait on that. Now, economically, I have a whole point, I have a lot of stuff to say on this. Now, funding for cancer, from my research, there has been a total of $6 billion for cancer funding, and roughly $300 million a year just on cancer from the CDC. AIDS, roughly 788 million in 2016 a year, dollars, just for AIDS. And this isn't even including the private organizations, private institutes, the private funding that goes into these diseases. And these are only two diseases. We still got diabetes. We got some STDs. We got so many diseases that they do research on, which creates a lot of money. So, and no results have been found. If I was the government, I would demand results. If they want this much funding, they better give results. And no cure has been found yet. To me, it's robbery right there. Now, another point is, have you noticed that medicine is so expensive? Well, simple, because there is no regulation and control on this. So pretty much, pharmaceutical companies are little monopolies, if you put it into context. And the government does nothing about this. Why? Because the government is in on it. All this is to control and for them to benefit on their own. And that is what I think.